Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome back to this episode of Bets and Buds. We're the Buds, help you catch your bets, and it's almost betting season, baby.
Yes,
I'm Jason Smoking Togan.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, everybody. And the reason why we say it's almost betting season because we are 43 days away from the start of NFL football season, and we try to pride ourselves on not betting on sports that we don't know a fucking thing about. So you know what? At the end of the day,
it's been pretty slim pickings.
Yeah, so it's been slim pickings. But guess what? Betting season is here and upon us, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to dive into this week's episode. How you doing, Bobby Light?
I'm good, Jason. How you doing?
I'm all good, brother. Weather is fucking, a little humid out today, but you know what? I can't complain. It's been a mild summer for the most part.
It's been a mild summer, but the heat has kicked up.
Heat has kicked up. A little humidity after all that rain we got last week or so. River levels are high, but it's going to be good times. Good times here.
My wildflowers are about this tall now.
Oh, you got wildflowers. Yeah. You're a botanist, Bobby?
I think I'm turning into a gardener.
What's going on, brother? So we got the Cardinals we're going to dive into first to get this show started here.
So they lost today. They did lose. They got shut out today 5-0.
But they did give Paul Skeens his first loss last night.
They did. They got it done in the bottom of the ninth. Small ball got the run across. Siani with the double. They bunted him over and then got the
Burleson.
Single with the single.
Burleson with the single after that. So, I mean, they probably left the Paul Skeens in a batter or two too late because the lefty seemed to get to him late in the game there. Yeah. Because he pitched a beautiful game up to that point.
He did. But I think it just, you know what I'm afraid they're going to do to him is turn him into Kerry Woods and just burn him out.
Yeah, hopefully not, but we'll see what happens.
He's young, he's strong, he should be able to throw 110 pitches, no problem.
Thing is with him, too, as well, he wasn't a big pitcher like most of his, junior year careers.
Yeah, I don't even think he started playing baseball, really, until later.
Yeah, he was a catcher for the longest time. So, some of those guys, he's going to maybe add a little bit more miles on his arm just because of that reason, because he didn't throw a lot as a youth player. So, we'll see what happens, but shout out to the Cardinals giving them their first win, and Lance Lynn with a yeoman's effort.
He did. He wasn't great yesterday, but he kept him
off the board. He really
kept
did.
him off the board. You got your 5 innings out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Picked up his 2,000th career strikeout.
Yes, 2,000 career strikeout. Yeah. Was that 2,000 career strikeout or as a Cardinal?
Just career.
Okay,
just
career.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. But hey, Lance, he's a hoss. He's a big bad throwing boy. So let's go.
Coming out of the All-Star break, they're 3-3 so far. Again, it comes down to they just can't score runs. They cannot score runs. So they played 6 games so far. They've scored 20 runs in those 6 games. 15 of them have come in 2 games. Yeah. So you're lucky you're 3-3.
Yeah, their offense has definitely been middling as we've been talking about this team for most of the year.
Because your pitching stepped up again in those 6 games. You only gave up 18 runs.
So hopefully they get the offense clicking here because Nolan Arenado, he did hit a home run off Skeens.
He did.
So let's see what happens.
Goldschmidt had a home run in Atlanta on Sunday. Yeah. So hopefully he starts picking it because really it comes down to those 2 players.
Yeah, those 2 guys got to be your guys. They're going to the second.
Good as Wynn and Burleson and Donovan have been, without Goldschmidt and Arenado, this team might not make the playoffs if they really don't start contributing.
Right. They're going to have to. Those guys got to have a big second half here. And hopefully as veterans, they get into their groove. They've been doing this their whole career. Usually the back of the baseball card ends up being the back of the baseball card. So hopefully that holds
Let's
true.
hope so. Because, Goldschmidt's he's down at 206.
Oh, yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. Again, I'm not even going to beat that dead horse, but I said it a long time ago. They should have traded his ass last year.
The bullpen starting to show a little wear too. Jojo Romero and Kittredge, you can tell. They've eaten a lot of innings this year.
You can only put so many miles on those bullpen arms.
Helsley still looks good.
Yeah, Helsley 33rd save last night.
Struck out the side. Yeah, and looked good doing it.
Yeah, he's a stud.
So that moves us into the trade deadline coming up next week. Their number one need is obviously a pitcher. They need another pitcher. They can't rely on Libator, who they started today again. Yeah. Or Palante. Obviously, they're not going to get it done.
No, we can't do a rotation.
You've basically got 4 names out there. You've got Nathan Eovaldi from the Rangers. Okay. If they decide to trade him, coming off that season they had last year, I actually think they end up trading Eovaldi. You've got Eric Fetty, Zach Eflin, and then actually this was the name that really surprised me because I would love to see this only because he's a University of Missouri product. But bringing Max Scherzer in for a late season.
And
push.
he's a St. Louis boy. Was it Parkway West grad?
Yeah.
Parkway West grad.
I mean, why not? Stick him in the Cardinals uniform for
at least give him this.
60 games.
He's wanted to do it most of his career. At least at the tail end of it. Let's go ahead and let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see if he can give us a jolt.
And it might bring that magic run that the Cardinals need. So,
be like when we got Woody Williams from the Padres.
From the Padres.
He went 7-1 down the stretch that year and pushed us in the playoffs.
Yeah, Mr. Dirty Hat.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Dirty Hat.
The other need, they need a right-handed bat off the bench for sure. They have all their outfielders are left-handed. Newbar, Ciani, Burleson, Donovan.
And then you got Carpenter as a lefty.
Yeah, Carpenter's a lefty. Edmonds, he's a switch hitter, and Carlson's a switch hitter, but Edmonds been hurt all year, and Carlson's getting ready to get traded. So.
Yeah, I mean, they hopefully. Hopefully.
So you've got 5 or 6 options out here. You've got Kevin Pillar, Lane Thomas, like we talked about last week. Mark Canha. I've never heard this name before.
That's a new one to me.
Yeah, Mark Canha, I don't know who that is. Justin Turner.
Okay.
And then you got Randall Gritchick, which we know here. Like, he plays a good center field. He can play a good center field, and he's got some pop.
The problem is, are you going to collude your outfit again? Like that's like
this should just be a right-handed bench bat. Really.
Yeah, you would think so, but I mean, that's still like a little bit extra. Like, where do you get his at bats?
And the last option is, and there's no chance in hell this happens, but Tommy Pham coming back. He does not like St. Louis.
No, I mean, I don't see it like Tommy Pham coming back, but I mean, I can see him out of any coach that he'd play for would be Ali Monroe.
Okay.
Because Tommy Pham's not the guy you got to worry about loafing. You don't got to worry about his effort.
If anything, everybody else on the team better be worried.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you're talking about a dude that went through a knife fight, like
twice.
Yes, twice. And like two people, like how many professional athletes can you say went through 2 knife fights in their career? So I mean, you know what? Like, I wouldn't.
And actively talks about fighting the other team.
So again,
Tommy Pham is not scared.
That might not be a bad thing.
That was the other name that popped up when I was looking around.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a long second half to kick into. So.
Well, currently you're 5.5 games out with today's loss. Maybe 6 if the Brewers win tonight.
Right.
You're still sitting in a wild card spot.
Yes.
So I mean, you've got the trade deadline. We'll see what they do next week. If they do nothing, well, then I expect this team not to make the playoffs.
But you know what? The Cardinals are always due for that playoff. I mean, that good winning streak in the second half a lot of times, too.
I think they might already had their winning streak going into the break. Because, I mean, Burleson carried them through that month.
He did, but I mean, they still are always good for that one little 10, 12-game winning streak that happens.
Let's hope so.
We watch enough Cardinals devil magic through our lifetime to know that, I mean, it's a real possibility. And
that is true.
Who knows? All right, so that's the Cardinals that we got covered here.
That's the Cardinals. I mean, I would just to reiterate, I would love to see Max Scherzer wear a Cardinals.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be a beautiful thing. To see Max Scherzer come back, that'd be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Because that would be a jolt. Like him and like I said, somebody like a Tommy Pham. Like those would be things you can bring in a lot. Like veteran leadership you can inject in this locker room with some of these young players. That would see to give them that spark to say, all right, let's go this second half and let's go for that Cardinal run. Mm-hmm. And let's do it Cardinal style. So. Let's see what happens. We got a whole second.
I'm sorry. The last one was they got to get another bullpen arm too.
Oh yeah. They need a bullpen arm. Who knows where it comes from?
It come out of the minor leagues. I don't know where it comes from, but you got to get somebody to take a little pressure.
Or also to see how long is Steven Matz out.
Hopefully O'Brien comes back shortly. He did start a rehab stint.
Okay,
but. He hasn't thrown a pitch all year.
But also, how much longer is Steven Matz out? Because when they put him in the bullpen last year, he was an effective arm in the bullpen.
The last I seen, he was still on the 60-day DL.
60 days.
So I would have to go back.
All right, so let's put him out of our brain. Let's put him out of our brain for now. So, all right, but like we said, so we are 43 days away from the start of NFL season. That means the Chiefs and the Ravens are kicking off that season on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. And so, again, that's September 5th. All right, so we're going to go our breakdown, sticking with that theme here. It's going to be the AFC North this weekend.
Yes, sir.
The AFC North, that's what we're on this week.
This is going to be a tough. Once again, probably if one, if not 2 top divisions of every year. It doesn't matter. This is always a tough division.
This is always a tough division, but this probably will definitely be the best division in football this year. But hence why probably the Hard Knocks went for the first time in an in-season coverage. They're not going to do it one team. This is going to be the whole AFC North that they're covering. So the whole AFC North is getting covered through Hard Knocks this year. All right, so where I would like to start off with the AFC North breakdown, I got the Ravens are favorite right now to win this division at plus 145. Ravens plus 145 to win the division. That's through FanDuel.
Okay, I got them at 140 for DraftKings.
140 through DraftKings. Okay, so again, always make sure you have multiple books so you look for your odds, because sometimes that juice is worth the squeeze on one book better than it is the other. All right, so then the over-under on win total for the Ravens was 10.5. The over being at minus 138, the under being at plus 112.
Okay.
So that's where it's sitting on the over/under here.
I like the over in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I like the over at this point right now, as long as they don't have any catastrophic injuries and everything like that. Let's see where the defense is with an new defensive coordinator, because Mike McDonald is now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
And don't forget, they lost 60% of their offensive line.
Yes, they did. So
they're basically starting with a new offensive line.
But some of those guys were kind of questionable as far as how well they were as contributors. But, I mean, they did lose some offensive line help there. And let's see what the Derrick Henry effect's going to be. Right. Because the big thing with Derrick Henry, let's see, the Ravens like a lot of shotgun, like spread offense to a certain degree. Let's see how much pistol they run, because you can't have Derrick Henry be an offset back in that offense, because it's too easy to read when he gets the ball on a handoff and everything. Like, you don't want, like, you need Derrick Henry to be lined up and it
takes him a minute to get going. Like, he can move, but
he can move, but he's not gonna shake anybody out of his shoes in the backfield. So let's see what happens there. My projected record for the Ravens this year, like I said, barring any catastrophic injury, going through their record all through the whole season, was 13-4.
13-4, just like last year.
Yep, 13-4. That was pretty much what they went at last year. Okay. Hopefully they don't forget to run the ball during the playoffs once they get there this season, because you know what?
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, I know, because I know. Like, we both lost money on that bet. Like fuck that. But all right, either way, we'll move on. We'll dive into the gambling aspect a little bit more later on during the season.
The big fantasy mover, I think, for this team this year is Flowers going to step up and become that true, dominant receiver.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, he's going to have a lot of options, because, let's see how much 12 personnel that they run when they have Isaiah Likely. Because, I mean, they have to at this point. Isaiah Likely, when Mark Andrews went out, showed that he's a solid pro. So if they don't run that 12 personnel set where they got the two tight ends in there, they're going to be making a huge mistake, because that's going to be something that'll open up for Zay Flowers. Mm-hmm. The other hidden gem will be Rashad Bateman. Looks good coming out. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy coming into the end, in his first couple of years in the NFL. Rashad Bateman was a stud coming out of the University of Minnesota. He's a good ball player. They have seen a lot of good film, but again, short and t-shirt workouts don't say anything that equates to the NFL, especially when you've had a hard time staying healthy. But let's see. I mean, Zay Flowers is because even in that Chiefs game when they were losing the game, barring that punch out at the end there, I mean, that was a huge punch out.
That was a huge punch out.
What was that? LeGarrette Sneed that did that? Yeah, so barring that huge punch out, I mean, they still had a chance, even though they didn't stick to their game plan and really didn't play a great football game.
Yeah, they could have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, they still could have beat the Chiefs in that aspect. So, all right, so next up we got the Bengals. The Bengals, I got them at plus 165. That's good FanDuel.
See, that DraftKings got them at plus 145, which that really surprises me that it's that close.
Okay, and so if anybody wants to understand how that works, then so that means $100 pays out $145 on a bet there, and through FanDuel. $100 bet pays out $165. That's why it's important to kind of
definitely would go with.
Yeah, so that's where you would search your book and you look and say, what's your better odds? So this is a little bit of gambling lesson here that we'll keep giving you these tidbits as the season goes along. But the over/under win for the Bengals was also 10.5 games.
Okay.
All right, so their over to hit 10.5 wins was 134 as opposed to actually the 138 through the Ravens. So actually the book through FanDuel actually likes the Bengals to hit it just slightly, not by a lot, but slightly more than what the Ravens would to hit that 10.5 wins. Their under is at plus 110. So again, their odds slightly better. So if you were to go off of the book actually likes the Bengals to win this division.
Yeah, they actually do.
Yeah, that if you were to go off the book. Yeah, so that's kind of the way that goes there.
See, with this one, it's the O-line again. They have a lot of offensive line turnover. They're bringing in a new running back in Zach Moss. Mm-hmm. Nixon's gone. Can Burrows stay healthy?
Yeah.
He's been injured 3 times now in 4 pro seasons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and a lot of that's his reckless play. I mean, he's got that kind of cowboy attitude.
If he can't stay healthy, I mean, Browning wasn't a terrible drop-off. Obviously, they went, but he's not Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong. Right. But they did go 9-8 last year.
Oh yeah, I mean,
with a backup,
which shows you how solid that team is. I mean, maybe that's why Vegas even likes him so much, even kind of leaning towards that, winning that division.
It's just a key. Burrows is the key there. And
with his new little Slim Shady cut, did you see that online?
Yeah, old Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, little Cody Rhodes, little Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers cut there.
Can Moss step in and be the guy for Mixon, or does Brown take over that role, Chase Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Mixon. I'm not Mixon. I'm sorry. It's going to be Zach Moss overall. I mean, because he's a solid back, and he's actually great in pass protection. So I was actually watching a little bit more video of Zach Moss from last year, just because I got bored one night and kind of watching a little bit extra film study on him. He's actually a great pass protector, so that's why he'll definitely be your lead back in that offense, which always gives you a lot more opportunity to stay on the field a lot more once you got that pass pro down.
And I mean, Mixon got the ball a lot. He always, every year, like when he was on the field, it was steady diet.
And last year they actually backed off of him, probably knowing that, because that's, if you got to watch, that's one thing you always have to watch too while you're doing like fantasy, or even watching a team or a player when it comes to projections wise during the course of a season. Right. Because if they're in a contract situation and willing to go, everybody remember, this is still a business. This isn't your high school team. This isn't your college team. This is a business decision a lot of these guys are making. So there's times where the front office will say,
hey, get Brown a little more.
Yeah, get this dude out of the offensive mix. He's going to be gone next year. We don't want to hit any accelerators in his contract, any bonus play, any of that whatsoever. So, let's see how that goes. Again, so let's see how Joe Burrow bounces back. What I have them projected going through their full record was 12-5.
12-5.
12-5. So slightly behind the Ravens.
Still puts them behind the Ravens.
Yeah, slightly behind the Ravens, but 12-5 is where I had the Bengals going through their full schedule there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we got there. They're halfway through the AFC North assessment. So next up, we got the Browns. The Browns here, and the Cleveland Browns, who actually made a playoff run.
They did make a playoff run. This is the team that actually baffles me. Like, this defense is stellar.
The defense is amazing. But they also lost Nick Chubb. Then they lost D Ford.
They did.
So they got down to
lost Watson.
Yeah, they lost Watson.
But then Flacco came in and played better.
But Flacco, what Flacco was able to do is he was able to take advantage of a lot of things that offense can do with this downfield ability to throw the ball. So that opened up the offense a lot more.
And he incorporated Njoku into it.
Yes, Njoku
balled down the stretch.
Njoku had a great season last year. Hits Flacco, again, knowing that being a veteran quarterback, knowing how to get a lot of players involved with the offense, especially a guy like Njoku, the field opens up once you start getting that downfield threat, like consistently, like with a guy like Flacco, who you got to guard the 60-yard bomb every play.
So can Watson step up and be the quarterback he needs to be this year?
You know what? He's back in the flow for a while now. A couple seasons getting back into the football groove. Like we talked about before, you can't step away from football and expect to perform at a high level consistently still. So that Deshaun Watson, if he can become that player of old, the Browns are going to be a tough team to deal with that defense.
I mean, I still think they'll be a tough team.
They've got a great offensive line. You got, what's his name? Joe Boitano. Mm-hmm. I think he's coming back off an injury from last season. I mean, and then Nick Chubb. Let's see what Nick Chubb looks like. They have video.
Did you see him?
Yes, the video of him beats the 585
squat on a squat,
repping him. Not one rep max. He was repping 585. So I mean, Nick Chubb is showing, hey, I'm back, baby, I'm back. So again, going through this.
Question: will he actually? Depending on how it goes in training camp, will he start the season on the PUP list or not?
You know what? That injury happened pretty early last season, so I think he'll be ready to go.
Okay. I think it was like week 2.
It was like week 4. I think at the latest. Director Dave could look that up for us, but I think it was like week 4 at the latest is when I think he went out last year with that broken leg, and that was a good thing about it. That it was a broken leg and not ligaments, because like a lot of times when you get that broken leg injury, that bone will heal back a lot quicker and a lot better than what those ligaments will. Yes, absolutely. So they were 8.5 for their over/under win total. 8.5, and so they were at minus 138 through FanDuel for the hit that over, and then they were at plus 112 to hit the under.
They went 11 and 6.
Yep, 11 and 6. Yes,
11 and 6 last year.
And it's funny that you say that, because for my projected win total from this year is 11 and 6.
Really?
11 and 6. Okay. So that would mean they would probably put, depending on the other divisions, 3 playoff teams from the AFC North in. There would be 3 playoff teams in from the AFC North. So
I guess you got the Steelers. I'll get to it when we get there. Right. I'm guessing the Steelers are going to be pretty bad.
Well, you know what? The Steelers are never bad, and that's the problem with most Steelers fans. They're actually tired of hearing they're above 500. But the Steelers, they're one of those organizations that
they expect to win.
Yeah, they expect to win Super Bowls. Who cares about making it to the playoffs? Who cares about winning the division? That's for teams like the Vikings. It's teams like the Bengals. It's teams like the Bills. Like that. Who cares about that stuff? For the Steelers, they like to win Super Bowls. So they're at plus 750 through FanDuel to win that division.
Okay, I got them at plus 800.
Plus 800. So close either way. Yeah, close.
I mean, not you're betting the Steelers to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be.
You better be a diehard.
That's going to be a tall order with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or whatever the hell happens after the whole shuffle, which is another reason why you don't want to pick them, because when you have two quarterbacks, typically you got none.
I think they're a better team all the way around. I mean, they didn't get worse.
No, they definitely didn't get worse. The only thing that's going to be concerned with the Steelers is they're going to be very, very thin, very, very thin at the wide receiver position.
Yep.
They traded away Deontay Johnson. You got George Pickens. Can he handle being that number one with getting that coverage on him game after game after game, where the coverage is rolling to him? You get the team's best corner over and over and over again, week after week. He is a dog. He wants that pressure. He wants that from the Steelers. But is he going to be able to handle that work? Yeah, can he step up and handle that workload? That's going to be the biggest thing. So their over/under win total, just like the Browns, is at 8.5. All right, so but unlike the Browns, their over total was to be at plus 122,
right?
And their under was at minus 150. That's what we got through FanDuel.
So they definitely think that minus is going.
It's definitely a lot more favorable.
Right.
But that kind of goes inside. Like, the biggest thing I look at with the Steelers is, okay, who's going to be the QB by the time we get to week 10, week 11, week 12?
That's a good. Wilson's definitely your starter.
He's definitely in the seating king seat position for sure. And then Arthur Smith effect. What's the Arthur Smith effect on that offense going to be? Because I do believe, I'm a big Arthur Smith believer when it comes to the way he runs his offense, calls games. I really like Arthur Smith when it comes to that aspect of being a head.
You've got two stud running backs. I mean,
oh yeah, you got Jalen Warren, and I think what's his face is in a contract year this year.
Najee Harris. Najee Harris is going to ball this year. You watch it.
Yeah, he's in the contract year. They've shored up a lot of the offensive line. I think they had like one of the top picks was offensive lineman. I think they brought an offensive lineman in through free agency. So we'll see what goes there. So my projection for their win total was actually at 9-8.
Really?
Yeah, which still sticks with Mike Tomlin never having a below 500 season. Okay. But again, that doesn't help Steelers fans because they're tired of hearing that shit. They're tired of hearing, he's above 500.
Oh, this is interesting. You got every team in this division going above 500.
Well, so here's the thing. Yeah, I mean they did pretty much last year. Last year, if you go back and look at it,
they did 9-8. Bengals
9-8. I think the Steelers went 9-8. So I mean, 11-6 of the Browns. So I mean, they did the same thing last year. But
Steelers went 10-7.
Oh, 10-7. Oh yeah, that's right. They went 10-7.
That's right. They got that last.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, they did. So 10-7 for the Steelers. So,
wow. Okay.
But the other division they're playing is the NFC East. So that means you're playing against the Giants.
Right.
That means you're playing against Commanders.
I'm sorry.
We buried that team. Director Dave buried that team already.
You'll have to show your tattoo again, Dave.
So I mean, right now I think they're still going to kind of be bringing up the rear. They're in a tough division, but it's always a dogfight because they play brutal football week after week after week. So.
I don't know. I'd be really surprised if somebody got to 13 wins this year.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to have a regression overall this year.
For me, it's all going to depend for the Ravens on their defense. I mean, if their defense takes steps back from what they've been the last couple of years, because you had Wink Martindale 2 seasons ago, you had Mike McDonald last season, so it's really going to be like depend on and I can't even remember who the defensive coordinator is this year that stepped in. So it's going to depend on their defense, in my opinion, on what happens, how it goes, and how we progress going forward.
Okay, all right.
So that's going to be the AFC North for this season here.
That is the AFC North. So, did you watch I know it's the big talk of YouTube right now, but did you watch the Trump and DeChambeau golf match?
No, I did not see that.
They did a scramble.
I did not see that. I don't know how I missed
It's actually pretty entertaining. If you like golf, you like DeChambeau, or you like Trump, look it up.
Shout out to, while we're talking about golf, shout out to Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, second major of the season.
Second major of the season. Seems like he's got his golf game going together right now. So.
He does. And then we've got Olympics actually. Stuff actually starts next week.
Yeah, but this Friday's opening ceremony, isn't it?
I believe I could be wrong on this, but I believe they're already doing archery.
They have some of the stuff that nobody gives a shit about.
But the main stuff does start next week.
But the opening ceremonies start next week. Let's see what happens with our USA Olympic basketball team for the men's team. Because the men's team, I mean, they've had a couple that's barely got by
Sudan, was it?
1 point win against was it South Sudan?
So
they had 1 point win against them. Last second layup by LeBron James. Then they had a last second 3-pointer by LeBron James to beat Germany the other night. So let's see. But that's also without Kevin Durant. So hopefully, if he gets back healthy.
I mean, European basketball, it's not like the 90s when they were
it has evolved so much past.
The NBA is totally, basketball on the world level is just totally different.
Oh, it's totally different.
Even 10 years ago.
Yeah, we can't expect those 40-point blowouts like we did once upon a time. Especially right now because it's, Team USA is not at full strength right now because they haven't had Kevin Durant playing. And it's also different because all those other European teams, they play together all year round a lot of times. Okay. Whereas opposed to when you got the USA team, they're throwing them all together. Guys, and then you got guys, so you got a guy like Anthony Edwards who has to come off the bench when he's used to being the man all the time in Minnesota. Jason Tatum has to be a role player when he's used to being the man all the time in Boston. So it's hard, and it's one thing with sports. This isn't fantasy football. This isn't fantasy basketball. This isn't your video games. This is real people in real life scenarios. And so when you're going through doing that breakdown, you have to always understand these guys are having to mold and have team chemistry, and team chemistry is huge with all team sports. It really is. And
some of these guys might not like each other.
Yeah, I mean,
past beefs on the court.
Well, and I think, and even then,
I mean, you've got clashing personalities.
And I mean, even you got like a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, young upcoming star. He's a great ball player. He used to have the ball in his hands on a regular basis. So I mean, the thing is, but if he's on the court with LeBron, guess who has the ball most of the time? LeBron. So I mean, so it's such a different scenario. Then we got the Team USA women's team. Let's see what happens. They'll probably be dominant as all get out. But
they should.
But did you see that they lost to the WNBA All Stars?
I did see that. Did you see how hard they were guarding Caitlin Clark?
Oh yeah, wow. But you know what? Everybody's been doing it all year because she's shown. You give her a little bit of space, she's going to bust those shots like Steph Curry.
Yep.
So I mean, but what was the girl's name who came out with 34 points in the second half? It was I can't even remember how to pronounce it, and I feel shame for that because I am a Nigerian.
It was
Aka Wabre or
something like that. I'll hold that
too. Aka Wabre or something like that.
She just they tried to put Caitlin Clark in the game, and the coach was like, "Hey, I'm not coming out. This girl."
Yeah, she was balling. She balled and led them to it was like an 11-point victory, 8 or 11.
It was impressive. It
was impressive point, especially because a couple of those girls they were saying weren't ready to be on Team USA yet. So
I'm not gonna lie, this is the most WNBA I've ever watched this season, more than I've watched the WNBA ever in this existence.
You know what? Say what you want, love it or hate it. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. I'm a basketball dad with a girl basketball dad, so I've always kind of paid attention a little bit, keep my eye on it because like I told her, I was like, there's never been a time in the history of Earth to be a female basketball player.
It's the best time ever.
Because actually, if you've seen, the WNBA rights actually are up for next year. There's a bid for $2.2 billion is what it's looking to go for. So do you realize what's going to happen with the salaries? They're talking about the minimum salary going from $57,000 a year to like $202,000 a year. So shout out to the women there. Good for you. Good on you. Come on, baby girl. Get in that gym and get to working. Get to work, Bridget. Get in the gym and get to working, baby girl. Let's get it going. So you know what? That's what I got covered for sports this week.
That's really all I got this week. It's a pretty slow week.
But you know what? We're also like a few days away from college football. So yes, like it's 43 days away from the NFL.
Yeah,
we're about 30 some odd days away.
Even that,
we got about a month away from week 0. So with that being said, I think next week we're going to come out with a little playoff prediction to see who's going to be our projected top 12. Because we got for the first time in college football history a 12-team playoff.
We're actually going to have a playoff,
a legitimate playoff. Not that no more of this 2-team who voted for, no more of this 4-team bullshit. Yeah, no more of this type of shit. We got 12 teams going to line up, and you better win those shit all the way out to win a championship, an actual legitimate championship from college football. So let's see what happens. So let's put that 12-team playoff bid next week. And then next week we'll also be covering the NFC North.
Okay.
And then we'll back on the Cardinals, of course, again and everything.
Oh, yeah, we'll always talk Cardinals. There was nothing coming out of Blues camp this week.
Oh, yeah.
You got top 50 you've got 3 top 100 prospects in the Blues system right now. That's the news.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the comment section there for us. We love seeing you guys tuning in with us. Make sure you shout out to True on the Track for blessing us with those beats. Let's keep the party going. I'm Jason Smoking Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Peace.